All right, welcome back, and what a delight to have with us today. Looks like it's Kaeley Triller. Is it Haver or Haver?
Haver.
Nice to see you. Thank you for being with us. She's the communications director for Just Want Privacy campaign. And by the way, you can just go to justwantprivacy.org is the website. And it has a lot to do with the big subject of the day, and that is this whole thing dealing with transgender bathrooms and what's happening. Kaeley, I don't know where we go with this. It's an amazing thing that this has happened in our country at the rate that it's happened. And there's so many issues with this. I feel so sorry for parents and children. In some ways, we are psychologically, spiritually, and emotionally molesting our children with this issue. And what's your take? What do you do? What's it all about from your perspective?
I absolutely agree with your assessment there. I think that's a fair statement to make. That's exactly what we're doing to our kids with this. And, I did not expect for this to become my soapbox issue by any means. I was just a regular mom working a job as a communications director. But about a year ago, while I was working at the YMCA, my boss told me that we were going to instate these types of policies. And as a survivor of sexual trauma and as a longtime YMCA employee who had, for 17 years been working there and actually caught multiple sex offenders in our branch already, it was just something I couldn't do. So I ended up getting fired over it. I lost my job, and I wrote a blog, and the blog went viral. And so that's how I found myself in my current situation with it.
Well, what's so interesting about this? It's been thrusted upon us overnight. And I don't know, Kaeley, if you pay any attention to the state of Oregon, but the state of Oregon has come out with a 12-page policy paper as it relates to public schools. And here's what happened right under our noses, and there doesn't seem to be any pushback, is that we have taken transgender and turned it into a sex. You have male, female, transgender, and nobody has challenged that. Nobody.
Well, we're trying awful hard over here, I'll tell you that much. It's not even just transgender. Now there's this concept of gender fluidity, which means today I can be a female, and if I feel like it tomorrow, I can be a male. And when you're creating legislation based on subjective terms, it's just going to be a recipe for disaster. It's already been badly abused in the few places where it's existed thus far. So I agree with you. We are.
Okay, got a little bit of a problem here. Sorry about that. By the way, at justwantprivacy.org is the website if you want to check it out. Kaeley is also dealing with the issue going on in Washington State. Now, Washington State has got its own issues. I think every state in the union now has its issues. But are we back with, there you are, Kaeley. Tell us what's going on with the initiative in Washington State.
Sure. So the way this happened in Washington, it's absolutely appalling, to be honest. Our Human Rights Commission, which is a group of 5 governor-appointed bureaucrats, they were not elected, very hastily and very sneakily this past December instated a statewide mandate that all places of public accommodation in the entire state of Washington would adopt these gender identity-based bathroom and locker room policies. And so they circumnavigated the legislative process and the people in order to do this and thrust this mandate on everybody. So the initiative is just working to overturn that or to repeal that decision. We've got to get 325,000 signatures to get this to a ballot. So definitely an uphill battle, but one we think is well worth fighting. And that's where I'm working right now, communications.
Has there been any notable cases, or at least that we know of men taking advantage of this now?
Oh, yeah. In fact, within 2 months of having this put into place here in Washington, we had a man go into a women's locker room at a pool near Seattle. And when he presented as a male, he didn't even pretend to look like he believed he was a female. And so he went into the locker room there where teenage girls were getting ready for swim team. And when they asked him to leave, he said, "Well, I have a right to be here." And because these regulations are built on subjective terms, nobody could prove him wrong. So he got to stay there, and then he went and worked out. And when he was done working out, he came back and he did it again. and there wasn't a police report filed, nothing. And so the message that sent those teenage girls loud and clear is that it is totally acceptable for a grown man to watch them shower, and nothing's going to happen to him. And
now, one of my really growing concerns is, again, there seems to, boy, this is hard for me to say because I don't want to sound critical, but it seems to me that the church is now going underground with this, totally silent. I'm not hearing anything. Now, I will say this, that Franklin Graham, within hours of the president making his declaration last week, spoke out against it. But we're finding out now pastors won't touch this. What's your research telling you?
it's been a devastating reality for me to see that too. I will tell you that we, on this campaign, had one volunteer contact 150 churches asking for their help. She got 7 to say yes. And when one finally said yes, she started crying. It makes me cry thinking about. And I think so much of the feedback she got was, oh, we support what we're doing, or what you're doing, but we don't want to be unwelcoming to, the transgender population or the broken, or we don't get involved in politics. Now, certainly there have been more churches than that than have risen up since then, but when you call 150 and you get 7, no wonder.
Let me ask you this, Kaeley. So what would you like to see the church do? I mean, if we were to recommend something to the pastors about this issue, from your perspective, what would that be?
I would say that, they need to do what the Bible says. It doesn't seem like it's that hard. Take a bold stand for truth. It is not loving or compassionate to allow a lie to be, basically what I was thinking about this too, I felt a lot about this actually, is that now more than ever, the church needs a shepherd that will lead their flock and model for them what they expect to see, the boldness, the truth, the protection for the people already in your church. Because there's little girls inside of your church right now that need your protection. And so if you think that you're somehow being compassionate, sitting on the sidelines and allowing more people in, what you call them with, you call them to. And so if you're not going to preach bold truth from the pulpit, you don't really have a right to be in the pulpit. Sorry if I'm sounding critical, but... No.
Okay, the other question that comes out of this, where do you think all this is coming from? And the reason I'm asking that is, I heard some figures in the last couple of days where there are actually more registered sex offenders. And these are the ones that are registered. These has nothing to do with the ones that haven't been registered yet. It's like 25 to 1. I don't know if that figure is true or not, but if it is, it's staggering. 25 to 1, then there are transgenders. Why have we played into 0.03% of the population the way we have with this issue?
I honestly believe that this is just social engineering. I think it has very little to do with transgender people. There's the lowest common denominator, which is compassion. Oh, we have to be compassionate and inclusive. These are just buzzwords. But that's not really what the agenda is. The agenda is to strip people of their individuality and to take control. It's basically Marxism. But it's unfortunate because those statistics that you said, those are true. There are 17 million American women who have already experienced attempted or completed rape, who deserve safety, who deserve, to be able to go take a shower at the locker room without having to worry about some guy standing there watching. There are 17 million American women, and there's 0.3% of the population that has, transgenderism. It doesn't make any economic sense. And, if you look at the numbers, actually, it's definitely about power and control.
I tracked earlier this morning Target's stock prices. And the day that they announced their policy and AFA came out with their petition against it, their stock has now fallen over 4%. That's representing billions of dollars. I don't see this as a fad boycott. I'm wondering if now there's going to be a cultural shift as it relates to this issue and public bathrooms. Why would you ever go to Target now? How could you possibly go there and use the restroom facilities, which is one of the most private things you'll ever do as a human being, when you know that there's no guard at the door?
I think that Target and everybody who's pushing these things are just basically assuming that the American people, while they may be unhappy, aren't really willing to be inconvenienced that much. And if you look at what we're seeing in the church, unfortunately, a lot of times that's the truth. Yeah, I don't like it, but I guess I'll just get over it.
Yeah.
And, I have to get some groceries and I need, office supplies. Oh, I guess I'll just go to Target. I'm not going to make a difference anyway. That's kind of the mentality that they're relying on.
I got to go, but tell us quickly, justwantprivacy.org. What can be done through the website?
You can find out more information about this issue. We've got resources, talking points. You can donate. We need some money. But there's a lot of good information on the website that can help you kind of inform your ideas about what's going on here.
All right. Kaeley, thanks for your effort and your interest in taking this on. I know that you personally have interest in this for a lot of reasons, but I just want to say thank you because this is a bold thing for you to do. And keep us posted on anything that we can do to help you, okay?
Will do. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. We'll be right back.
I'm Paulina Leiser, producer of Focus Today. Thank you for watching this video and make sure to check our other videos at theDove.us.